This is Lanikia, and you are watching What Happened on the Soaps, the Days of Our Lives edition. Today is May the 9th, 2022. It's Monday, a new start to the week. All right, this is also going to go up on my All Soaps All Day channel as well. So you might be watching it on both channels. Anywho, let's jump right into this. Days of Our Lives on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to give this is another soap today to me that was I'm gonna give this an 8.5. You know what? I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because we saw a lot of stuff go down. And let me get these people out of the way so we can go to the meat of the episode. All right. So we see that Sean comes up and he says, Rafe, we got people looking into this, and he says, "You come with me, Sean, because I think I know where the baby is." Because Rafe has just gotten off the phone with with Johnny. And Johnny says that they're at Horton Cabin. So he's like, that's where they are. Let's go. Now they have every man on the force just about looking for this baby. Now Ben is with Sierra, and she's, obviously she's upset, and she says, the baby's gone. I never even got to hold the baby. I thought Allie was Allie, but it turns out it was the devil. And Ben said, there was no way you could know. And she said, but I deep down inside, she did know, because everything that Allie was doing didn't make sense. She said, I didn't think Rafe would leave, tell us to come here. And she said, and I didn't think that you were dead, even when I saw you on the floor. And she tried to make me believe you were dead. I still didn't believe it. And she said, but I don't know. She said I just still didn't believe it at all, or any and everything. But anyway, so Rafe comes to the door. I'm not gonna hold y'all long on these people. So Rafe comes to the door and he gives Sierra a hug, and he was like, what are you doing? And she was like, I'm leaving. I gotta go search for my baby. He says, no, you gotta be in the hospital. We got every man on the force looking, and you need to take care of yourself. So they go to the hospital. And Sierra and Ben, and the nurse just tells her, take care of yourself, calm down. And she's like, but of course, anytime you have a baby and your baby is kidnapped right out of your womb, like she didn't even get time to hold her baby, that's, she wants to be out there. So Ben says no. Rafe promises her this when they're at the cabin. Rafe promised her, I'm going to bring your baby back. I'm going to search Salem, up and down hell, every place on earth until I can bring your baby back. And so now she's at the hospital, and Ben makes the same pledge to her, because she says, Ben, I need you out there looking. I'm going to be fine here, because he told her, rest in the hospital. When we get the baby back, you're going to need to have your strength. And she says, well, I need you out there looking, because he tells her he still has hope. He says a few years ago, he would have been like, well, of course this has happened. It's him. He said, but being with Sierra has given him hope into a better future, a better life. So he believes that the baby's going to come back. And so Sierra was like, well, I need you out there looking for the baby then. Like, I'm in the hospital. I'm being taken care of. Go search for our baby. And he's like, you got it. I'm going, and everything. So he leaves out of the hospital, right? Okay. So then we see that Allie goes to the crypt, and she's like, oh, Andre, because he's, his pile of dust is still there from when Susan picked him. She's like, I expected better from you, but oh well. And so then Evan comes in, and he was like, who are you? Because he sees the glowing eyes, he sees the baby, and whose baby is this? And she was like, you didn't, I tried to tell you at the prison. I said, well, Evan, you didn't figure that out, because I thought you had figured it out. She was like, I'm the devil. And he was like, what are you doing with that baby? What are your plans? What are you going to do with this baby? And she said, oh my gosh, everybody keeps asking me this. What are you going to do with the baby? What are you going to do with the baby? She said, but you know what? Because you helped me get this baby, you're going to be the first person on earth to find out. And he was like, what? Now, I don't know if Evan is down for this or not, because remember when they were in the prison, he had told her, I'm not down for doing stuff for kids, like the babies and all that. I'm not, that ain't what, I don't care about that. I'm not into that. Like, I'm not down for hurting babies. But anyway, so she tells him, how I was, Allie's fighting me in here. He said, so she's putting up a fight right now. She said, now for a minute there, I thought she was going to overtake me when the baby was born, but I had to fight her down. And she said, so that's the problem when you get with these humans and they have all these soul attachments and stuff to people and everything. They can fight you. She said, but when you get a young baby like this, they're not attached to anybody. That's why she took that baby right out of Sierra's womb. They're not attached to anyone. so I can go right into this baby, and they're not gonna fight me. It is what it is. And he said, so you gonna use the baby? And she said, yes. And he says, so what? You gonna have Ben and Sierra to raise you? And she said, no, that's where you come into play. I need somebody that's gonna take care of me, that won't keep fighting and trying to find me or whatever. And he was like, so what am I supposed to do? And she said, kill Ben and Sierra. I said, wait, so is Evan supposed to raise you, go kill Ben and Sierra, then raise you until you get to adult so you can do your full power? Like, I am confused, and I'm not really down for this whole doing this to this baby and all that. Mm-mm. So moving right along, that's it with them, y'all. So then we go to Eli. So Eli is telling Lonnie, he's like, yeah, TR is the one who shot me. And she said, no, you confused. Girl, how you gonna tell this man? She says, you're still confused, and everything. He said, no. He said he was covering up. And she was like, what are you talking about? So he tells her, listen, what Beth tell you? And she said, Beth told me Eli was clean and he had never abused her. And he said, that's not the story she gave me. And that's why I was in the park looking for him. He said, because Beth told me that Eli was still on drugs and he was still a woman beater. He was beating her and stuff. And she said, what? He said, yeah, that's why I was in the park. He said, Frank didn't kill me. And so Lonnie need to figure out he killed Frank too. He said, Frank didn't kill me. He said, I confronted Eli and he had I confronted TR and TR had heroin on him or whatever. And she said, oh my gosh, baby, are you sure? And he said, yes, I'm sure. He said, I confronted him and then he got my gun away from me and he shot me. He shot me on purpose. And she said, oh my God. She said, Beth did come and she said she wanted to tell me something. And then when she saw TR, when he came in the room, she left. He said he probably had got to Beth. That's what Eli told her. He probably had got to Beth. And she was like, oh my God, I let that man near my children. I let him near Paulina. I let him near me. And he tried to kill my husband and was going to leave me a widow, leave my children without their dad and everything. Oh, and so she is ticked at this point. All right. So then she says, so he says he has to be stopped. And she said, I'm going to be the one to stop him. He said, no. Call for backup. She said, backup. And she said, there is no backup, babe. Everyone's looking for Ben and Sierra's baby. There is no one. I have to go and handle this, because he had told her to call for Rafe. And she says, no, I'm going to go handle this. So she tries to call Paulina. And she can't reach Paulina, so she keeps leaving messages. And she says, don't tell. She leaves Paulina a message and tell her, Ray has not changed, but don't let him know that you're onto him or that I told you, because he's dangerous. And so she tells Eli, I gotta go. And he says, babe, just let the police handle it and get back up. And she says, I don't have time for this. I got to go. And so she leaves, right? And when she's leaving, she sees Julie. And Julie's like, are you okay? She said, I heard the wonderful news about Eli. And she was like, yes, he's awake or everything. And I got to go see Paulina. And she said, oh, Abe with her. And she said, what, you saw Paulina and Abe together? She said, no, Abe came over and I sent him over to Paulina's because he's over there to declare his love and everything for Paulina. And Lonnie says, oh my God, she's like, I gotta go. So then Julie goes to talk to Eli, right? And she says, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're awake. He was like, Grandma, it's good to see you and everything. And she said, I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking of this was gonna be a different kind of reception or mood or whatever. And so then he tells her, he was like, Grandma, I have something to tell you and you're gonna be upset. She said, just tell me. And so he said, okay. He says, Eli tells her, I was shot by TR. And she said, oh my God, what? And he said, yes, TR, I remember who shot me, and it was TR. And he says, so Lonnie was going over there to go and tell Paulina because he's with Paulina. And she says, oh my God, I just sent Abe over there. I could have been sending Abe to a trap or whatever, because at this point they know TR is dangerous. He's still on drugs and everything. And she said, I could have just sent Abe over there to a trap, to a dangerous situation, because he's going over there to declare his love. So now they both worried. Okay. So then at Paulina's place, Abe knocks on the door. I told you this Friday, Abe is trying to get in. And TR was like, me and my woman going on a trip. And he said, excuse me? And he said, but what are you doing here, Abe? And Abe says, I came to tell my woman that I'm in love with her or whatever. And TR said, the nerve of you, Mr. Mayor. You think you've been playing hot and cold with her all these months. Now because you ready to say I love you, you expect her to be ready. But no, no, no. Me and my woman are going on a trip, a romantic getaway. And he was like, Paulina wouldn't leave with Eli uh, in a coma and all that. And he said, and look how selfish you are. You want her to leave while he's in a coma? That's so selfish on your part. It is selfish, TR. But anyways, Abe is just like, I'm going in to speak to Paulina. And TR is like, brother, no, you're not. And Abe said, yes, I am, brother. And so then I said, yo, stop playing. So then, okay, so then Trip calls, right? And I said, Trip, wait a minute. But Trip calls and he tells Abe that Eli's awake. And not only does he tell Abe that Eli's awake, he says he's talking. He says, oh, I'm at Paulina's. I'll tell Paulina. And I'm like, Trip, you should have told him that you already told TR or whatever. Because remember, TR is the one who answered Paulina's phone. Anyways, um, Abe tells TR, and TR was like, oh, because remember, TR had said earlier to A that Eli not gonna wake up anyway, so we're gonna go on this little trip, me and Paulina. But now he's awake, and Abe tells TR, yeah, he's awake and he's talking. So TR already know the gig is up soon. If it's not already, it's gonna be up soon. So he tells Abe, well, I'm gonna tell Paulina, and Abe said, oh, no, no, no. He starts coming in the room and he says, "What are you doing?" He says, I'm coming to tell Paulina about Eli." And he said, "No, you're not." And Abe was like, "Sir, you need to move out of my way. I'm not leaving here until I speak to Paulina." And so he goes into the room, and I don't know where he got this bat, but TR had this metal bat, and he knocks Abe upside the head with it or whatever. He said, I try to warn you to mind your dang business, man. And so he moves Abe's body behind the couch. So Paulina comes out and she said, hey, because he tells Paulina, hurry up. She said, I'm almost done. And she said, I thought I heard voices. He said, oh, no, that was just some people, religious people at the door or whatever. And she says, oh, I got to talk to the doorman because she looking for her phone. I got to talk to the doorman about letting anybody up in this building. I pay too much for that. He said, don't worry about it. We'll talk to him on the way down or whatever. And so she says, well, I need to call Lonnie or whatever. And he said, no, Lonnie was calling, um, Paulina on the phone, right? Remember earlier when Lonnie was in the hospital with Eli, she was trying to reach Paulina. He sees Lonnie's calling, and remember, he's already put Paulina's phone on Do Not Disturb, so he hides her phone. So Paulina turns around, she's like, "Where is my phone?" Or whatever. Here, here's your phone, girl. And why you keep trying to leave without your phone? But she's like, "Where's my phone?" But she was like, "Oh, I want to talk to the doorman." And he was like, "We'll talk to him on the way down." And she was like, "Well, I want to hit up Lonnie one more time." He was like, "Babe, we don't have time for that. We'll get it all done on the way or whatever." And she says, all right, it might be nice to have this romantic weekend. So they smooch and all that kind of stuff. And they're about to leave, right? But then she said, Abe says, he groans. And she said, you hear that? And TR is like, mm-mm. I ain't heard nothing. I said, not TR. You heard that. And she said, no, I heard something. And she heard the groan again. And she said, oh, no, I heard something. It's coming from over there. He said, no, ain't nothing over there. Ain't nothing over there. But he couldn't stop Paulina from going over there. And she sees Abe on the floor. And she said, oh, my God, what have you done? Because Abe is bleeding out at the head or whatever. And he says, it was an accident. Let me explain. She said, you ain't explaining nothing. And so she finds her phone and she grabs her phone up and she's like, I'm calling. I'm calling. And she said, missed call from Lonnie. So she knows he's been messing with her phone. And he says, he grabs her phone from her and he says, give me the phone. And she was like, what have you done? Well, you haven't changed. And he says, Paulina, let's go. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. You're still the same person you always been or whatever. And so he says, woman, if you don't come with me now. And she's like, no, I'm not going anywhere with you. You're a coward. And so he raises his hand to her like he gonna hit her. And she said, you gonna hit me? Oh, you ain't changed. You still the same coward you always been. And I ain't going in with you. And you give me my phone back or whatever. She said, I'm not that same little girl. I'm not scared of you like I used to be. You're not finna make me go in the corner like I'm scared and just follow you along with you. Give me my phone back. And so he's aggressive with her and stuff. And then Lonnie comes in and Lonnie says, um, what Lonnie said, I can't remember what Lonnie said, but Lonnie comes in the room and she's like, freeze, Ray, or be she's like, freeze, Ray, or whatever. And so he turned around and she looks over and she sees her dad on the ground bleeding out of the head. Baby, Lonnie didn't say nothing else except bang bang. Lonnie said, I ain't giving you no chance to explain. I'm not gonna say hands up or get on your knees, put your hands behind your back. I'm just shooting. And I said, this finna be a mess. But they gonna cover it up properly until it come out. But yeah, so that was it. That was days of our lives today, guys. Yeah, that was days of our lives today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I'm trying to grow. And I will see you tomorrow with a new episode.